I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I had to leave. I will let you go. Why do you think that I want? Why do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, legacy version Atlanta Motor Speedway, if you will, as it gets ready to play host to this race weekend solely for the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. That's right, we are standing alone here with the Cup Series this weekend. We will resume with the Light Series next weekend when we get to the Arizona Speedway, but this is going to be the middle race of the second round for our remaining 12 playoff drivers battling for the Season 8 Duracell Next Gen Cup Series Championship. We, of course, ended up starting off this round last week, and we are now going to progress here into this race weekend, setting up for next week, which will be our second elimination race. We've already eliminated 4 drivers. That was after Nashville Super Speedway, and we will have another 4 drivers eliminated in 2 weeks' time. But we'll kick things off here this weekend with pole day qualifying. We are currently awaiting the drivers to come out here onto pit road for the expedited 5 minutes in go or go home qualifying to determine who our final 2 drivers in this weekend starting lineup will be. 5 drivers showed up here in Atlanta for those 2 positions. Our usual 4 drivers that we see just about every single week running part-time but in a non-charter capacity, and then Trey Wright going to be in the all-star car out of Blue Oval Automotive here this week, attempting to qualify for what I believe would be his 3rd start on the season so far. 1 top 5 in his 2 previous starts here in Season 8. We're already winding down the clock here. We are nearing 4 minutes remaining, so these drivers will be lucky if they're able to even get in maybe 2 or 3 good money laps, as now all 5 of the drivers have pulled out into their respective pit stalls. So we'll wait until somebody makes the jump off of pit road here and get ready to head on out there and set down their qualifying lap. Looks like Kyle Langland is going to be the first of those drivers, the rookie out of World NOS Racing. Langland looking to make his 8th start on the season. 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s here in his previous 7 appearances. Of course, as well, for a number of these lights drivers that run full-time non-charter here in the Cup Series, if they don't make the show here today, well, then they don't make a show this weekend, since the lights drivers are currently off and we won't see them until Arizona. 3 minutes left in the session here as Langland is on the clock. Having some issues with my other PC right now. In fact, it's taken a while to load up some programs and stuff. I don't know what's going on there, so we do have the point stands at least up for me to be able to adhere to when we eventually get to the second round of qualifying. Everything else, though, it seems to be freezing for some reason. I'm not sure why. Might have to do a restart or something at some point, but nonetheless, Langland going to clock in. 30.536. Going to be his first lap time of the session and should improve here. Being a little bit more up to speed, tires up to temperature here on the second lap. As he will go top of the board, 30.350. I'll get the numbers in order correctly momentarily. Somebody did eclipse his lap on their warm-up lap, and that was Trey Wright. So we'll see if he can beat a 3.50 as he hit a 4.84 on his very first lap, and this time around he will improve. 30.236 for Trey Wright. Langland slower on his third lap. So for these drivers right now, may just be 2 laps that they're going to get before the tire wear starts to kick in. Lap times taper off. Let's see what Bryce Egan gets on his second lap. Third quickest at a 30.369, and Hiccup Bush just jumped to second on the board at a 30.241. So right now, it'd be a couple of Fords, Trey Wright and Hiccup Bush in the top 2 positions. Autumn Brooks right now is third fastest at a 2.62. That's about 200ths off of Hiccup Bush. Trey Wright just went faster, 30.209, keeping him at the top of the board. Langland improved to a 3.29, but that puts him 5th. Bryce Egan at a 3.07 at 4th. Hiccup Bush just went top of the board, 30.140. 30 seconds remaining here on the clock. Hiccup Bush currently at top of the board. Autumn Brooks still a distant third to Trey Wright. About 200ths difference between those two. Trey trying to hang on. Autumn right now at a 30.222. And this time by no improvement, actually slower. Improvement for Hiccup Bush, though. Just ran fastest lap of the session as he's in the O's. 30.070. That should solidify it there for Hiccup Bush to make it into the field. Looking to make his 4th start on the season. And I believe Trey Wright's 2.09 will be enough to hang on for the second and final transfer spot, which means that Autumn Brooks, Kyle Langland, and Bryce Egan would be your DNQs here for this weekend at Atlanta. As zeros are on the clock, red flag is displayed, and it is definitely looking like lap times are no longer being scored. So Hiccup Bush going to make his 4th start on the season for World NOS Racing. Trey Wright will be piloting the All-Star car. As a matter of fact, Hiccup Bush actually improved when he came back around here to receive the checkered flag. It was a 0.70, and then he improved to a 0.57. So that could be a dangerous sign with him making the field for everybody else here this weekend. The fact that that car continued to improve its lap times as the run went on. Normally, when you're at a track like Atlanta, the lap times fall off. If you're able to do something like what Hiccup Bush was doing right there, that means you've got a good long run car, and that could be important at a track such as this. Session complete. Lap times are official. Hiccup Bush and Trey Wright, couple of blue ovals, will be moving on into the next round of qualifying. A great lap time there for Hiccup Bush. We'll see if he can translate that over into the second round of qualifying. Maybe get himself a pole position or some good starting track position. And Trey Wright by 2/100ths, well, a little less than 2/100ths actually, is going to get the final transfer spot with Autumn Brooks, Bryce Egan, and Kyle Langland coming up just short. They will fail to qualify for this weekend's race from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back, and our 42 official starters for this weekend. We'll head on out and see who's going to capture the pole position here in playoff race number 5. Don't go anywhere. Coverage continues right after this. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. Welcome back to the Atlanta Motor Speedway as we now get ready to find out who's going to start on the pole position for this weekend's Cup Series race. Many may forget, and we probably won't adhere much to the statistics of it here this race, but Atlanta Motor Speedway has been run already here this season. That was during our All-Star race weekend. Obviously, it's an entirely different configuration. It was a super speedway that we ran there. We're running a worn-out mile and a half here this weekend, so not a whole lot that you can really compare between the two racetracks. And as I've said, we'll never run the super speedway configuration in a points-paying race. That's why it was the All-Star race venue. But if we were to talk about stats, Jack Mitchell, first one out here on the racetrack, was the winner of that All-Star race. Jack is still looking for his second win on the season, but he had a great run last week at Dover that has him now sitting second in the playoff standings. So we'll see. We'll see if a little bit of experience at the super speedway configuration of this racetrack will help him in the worn-out surface of this D-shaped quad oval, as he's got Quentin Moore right there behind him. Draft will be huge into who gets the pole in this race. I guarantee you of that. Quentin Moore, what he's doing right now is exactly what you want to do, is be right in the tow, right in the slipstream of the car in front of you. Get that big run down the straightaway. 10 minutes here in this qualifying session, with us having so much more drivers out there than we had in the first round. We've already used up 2 of those allotted 10 minutes. Kind of looking similar here at the start of round 2 of the playoffs as it was back in round 1. Back in round 1, we ended up having the first 2 races of that round won by non-playoff drivers. James Qualls would eventually cap off that round with a victory at Nashville Superspeedway, becoming the first playoff driver to win in the playoffs. But last week, first race of this second round, and a non-playoff driver in Dylan Young went to victory lane. So right now, for our 12 remaining playoff contenders, they are looking to at least point their way into the next round, which means they have to be above 8th in the standings cut line, which right now, that spot would belong to the 26 of Daniel Voiles. So we'll be putting a lot of emphasis on Daniel Voiles during the course of this weekend, as he's kind of the determining factor of whether the cut line shifts upward or whether it shifts downward. Speaking of shifting downward, Matt Haas, he did not have a good run last week at Dover, just did not have the speed, did not have the race car, and he dropped like a rock through the standings from 4th in overall points, now to the final driver in the playoffs, 12th position. Now, I guess the good news for him is he didn't drop far enough that he can't make it up. He's only 9 points below the cut line. A lot of other drivers as well struggled last week at the Monster Mile, but cannot afford 2 bad races here in this round, because you don't want to go into our second elimination race next week at Arizona Speedway in a must-win situation. Levi McIntyre, another driver that had an okay race, I guess you could say, at Dover. He's still above the cut line, 7th in the standings, but he doesn't have a whole lot of cushion to be able to work with. He's only 4 points to the good. And RJ Bishop right there in the 98 saw his teammate go to victory lane last week. RJ, a former winner this season as well, back at Iowa Speedway. RJ is currently below the cut line as well. He is 10th in the standings, 3 points below 8th in overall points. James Qualls, coming off that victory back at Nashville Superspeedway. Subsequently, because of the 5 bonus points he carried over here into the second round of the playoffs, went into last week at Dover as the points leader. He didn't fare all that well either, dropping 3 spots in the standings. He's now down to 4th in points. He is 12 points ahead of the cut line. Reggie Fogelman and Carson Gum, couple of Toyotas there. Both drivers lost spots in the standings last week. Fogelman dropped from 3rd down to 6th. He is 6 points ahead of the cut line. Carson Gum has fallen below the cut line from 2nd to 11th, and he is 7 points below the 8th in the standings cut line. Mostly single digits above and below. Nobody is safe and nobody is absolutely eliminated at this point in time. A lot can change depending on what happens here this weekend at Atlanta. Alexander Rowe is now the new points leader, as he had a really good run last week at Dover. Almost picked up the victory to win his way into the next round, but was about half a car length, 3/4 of a car length short in that photo finish at the Monster Mile. He has a total of 26 points ahead of the cut line, being the points leader. There's Nick Gunther. Gunther is right now 9th in points. He is 1 point below the cut line. Remember, it was 1 point between him and Michael Norman after Nashville Superspeedway that advanced Gunther into the next round and eliminated Norman from competing for the championship. So Gunther right now seems to be living and dying by the 1 point. Some more playoff drivers here in this pack of double and 3 wide. So these drivers now, I guess, have given up on queue time, and they're getting a little race experience in for the weekend. Dustin Bolin, 4-time winner on the season, moved up 4 spots in standings last week from 7th to 3rd. He is a total of 14 points ahead of the cut line. And there's Ryan Brommer in the 87. Ryan is 5th in points. He jumped up 6 spots in standings last week. He is 11 points to the good above the cut line. I believe I've documented all of the playoff drivers and where they are at. Well, Daniel Voiles, we already documented, is the cut line driver. And I believe everybody else I have indeed documented. So now, let's take a look at lap times here. And who is at the top of the board? You saw him running in the draft of Jack Mitchell. Very early stages of this race. It has worked out for Quentin Moore out of Joanna Atwood Motorsports. His 29.138 has him currently on the point over Dylan Young, last week's winner. Those are the only, actually there are 3 drivers now. Connor Breton joins them as the only 3 drivers to hit the 29 ones. Moore with a 138, Young with a 147, Breton with a 165. For Quentin Moore, he's looking to get his 2nd pole on the season, which would join him with a number of others that have won multiple poles so far this year. Nick Gunther, Michael Norman, Eric Monaco, Anthony McCrory, Jessica Shelton, Benjamin Snyder, and Dylan Poteet would be on that list. See Dylan Young at the very tail end here of this pack. That's a big reason why he was able to get the tow for the lap time he set down. Same deal for Quentin Moore. We saw him in the draft of Jack Mitchell. I said the draft was going to be huge into who was going to start where for this event. Looks like Dylan Young, Nathan Norman coming down pit road. Hiccup Bush had a great lap time in the Go or Go Home session, the first round of qualifying. Right now he's 18th fastest in that Brant Ford, and the other driver that transferred in, Trey Wright, right now scoring has got him in 33rd. So it doesn't look like the speed we saw in the first round of qualifying is necessarily transferred over here to the second round of qualifying. Dylan Poteet right now 5th fastest. I'm kind of looking here at our speed charts at potential drivers that could be another non-playoff driver to go to victory lane this weekend. Poteet being one of them. Another driver that's a former Atlanta winner is up here in the top 5 in speed. There he is, Charles Sanford. He's won at this racetrack in the past here in the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series, and he is currently 4th fastest at a 29.209. Jessica Shelton right now up inside of the top 10. Zachary Fitzwater. There's drivers that are still looking for their first wins of the season. And they could upset the apple cart, if you will. If they go to victory lane, puts a lot more emphasis on playoff drivers having to point their way into the round of 8 when we get to the elimination race next week at Arizona Speedway. As less than 10 seconds remain in the session, I don't think anybody is going to improve on the 29.138 set down by Quentin Moore, who's now maybe trying to figure out what his car feels like in traffic, as he'll be enjoying the clean air when we take the green flag here tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be his second pole on the season, joining the multi-pole club. And Dylan Young, 1 week removed from going back to victory lane at the Monster Mile at Dover, is going to share the front row with the Loves Chevrolet. Pretty encouraged with what we're seeing here, this 3-wide racing, couple of rows deep on occasion through this pack. That's why we love coming to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's always brought about great racing. A lot of seasoned veterans have won at this racetrack. Cream kind of rises to the top with the veteran experience. Very rarely have we ever seen a rookie or a young gun be able to surprise everybody with a victory here. It's usually that veteran experience. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Zach Rogers and Charles Sanford are the 2 most recent winners at this venue. We'll have those stats for you when we take the green flag here tomorrow afternoon. But taking said green will be Quentin Moore from the pole position. Dylan Young will be alongside of him in second, with Connor Breton and Charles Sanford making up the first 2 rows. Dylan Pote will start 5th. Highest of our playoff drivers will be James Qualls in 6th. Jack Mitchell right there with him in 7th. And then Jessica Schulten, Zachary Fitzwater, Joshua Osborne going to be your top 10. So only 2 playoff drivers. I don't necessarily think Atlanta, with what we've seen in the past, I don't think it's necessarily a track position racetrack, but hey, better start up front than back in that eye of the storm, I guess, in the early going of this one. Rest of your playoff drivers are going to be starting outside of the top 10, with Ryan Brommer in 14th, Alexander Rowe 15th, Daniel Voiles, mentioned he's the cut line driver, 8th in the standings coming into this weekend, 16th for him. Dustin Bolin going to be 19th, with Nick Gunther in 21st, RJ Bishop in 22nd, Carson Gum back in 25th place. Looks like, don't want to skip over anybody. Matt Haas would be 30th. Reggie Fogelman deep in the field in the 34th position. And looks like that would be the furthest back of our playoff contenders in tomorrow afternoon's starting lineup. Should be a good one tomorrow against just the Cup Series drivers here this weekend. So we'll see you guys here tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time before we resume with our doubleheader Lights and Cup Series drivers next week at Arizona Speedway. Hope to see you guys tomorrow. Should be a good one. Atlanta never disappoints. Congratulations to Quentin Moore on his second pole on the season. If you enjoyed this qualifying session, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We have shown you your full results from qualifying, setting your starting lineup for tomorrow afternoon. And until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.